Spirit Gang. Welcome back to another glorious episode of Spirits, Angels, and Guides. Oh my, I am Nancy Christine Brady.
And I'm Tara Diana, and we are super excited for this episode. I'm always excited for all the episodes, but this one I feel you guys are going to love. It's something a little bit different.
Yeah, I think, we always try to have our spin about how different things that interest us tie into mediumship or to psychic abilities. And this one's going to be interesting because I got a few things I'm going to be interested to see your take on, Tara.
Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
So today we are going to get our start talking about Bloody Mary.
Ooh, that
Yeah.
sounds like a nice drink and a terrible person.
You stole one of my fun lines. But so like this story goes back decades and years, and nobody really has been able to trace back the actual start of this. So you know how there's always people that do these ridiculous studies on strange things like how many licks does it take to get to the center of a lollipop or different things like that. I feel like all these people went down this road with Bloody Mary trying to find where the legend started.
Oh, so
So,
like the origin.
yeah, yeah. So the origin is like,
Oh, okay, wait a second. People actually you must know or have read that someone actually tried to lick a lollipop to find out how many times it gets to the center.
I did.
I okay, because you would never have just made that kind of shit up. Like, oh, how many licks does it take to Oh, people have too much time on their hands, I swear to the great goddess. Go ahead, carry on.
And too much budgets at universities to do these things.
Right? If someone got paid for that, we are seriously in the wrong business.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you listeners who don't know who Bloody Mary is, it's a legend of a ghost, phantom, witch, spirit that's conjured in your mirror to reveal the future. And she's said to appear when her name is chanted repeatedly. And she might be benevolent, she might be malevolent, depending on the historical sort of variations of the legend. So the first I want to tell you the two rituals because the one made me really chuckle a lot. So the traditional ritual that you or I would know from the 70s or 80s, Tara, is you stand in front of a mirror with a candle and you chant Bloody Mary, and that was going to be my line. It won't cause a cocktail to appear. Boom, boom, but
Damn it.
Tara,
Damn it.
damn it! As much as Tara and I might like that. However, according to the legend, the ritual may cause a ghastly apparition. So, when the person enters a dark lit room with a candle, he or she looks into the mirror. So,
Mm-hmm.
we call this scrying, we call this gazing, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit when we flip this over to Miss Tara. And then you're supposed to chant Bloody Mary, you chant different, phrases, and she might appear in the mirror. And it's said, like, I know when I was growing up, every single, like, you know, tween had tried this at a sleepover. And it was really about, is she going to reach out and scratch you? Or is she going to be, you know, drag you into the mirror and you're face the afterlife to haunt her forever with her forever, right? She could appear as a corpse, she could appear as a witch, she could appear as a ghost, she could be friendly, she could be evil, she could be demonic, all these things. And sometimes she's covered in blood, hence the name Bloody Mary. Other versions of the story are that the mirror starts dripping blood.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yes, or your hair turns white, or the people just disappear without a trace from looking in the mirror.
Oh, oh
Okay.
my.
So of course people want to really or debunk, I should say, any sort of crazy myths or curses or whatever you want to call these things, legends. Ritual two that I could find in any of my historical research here talks about the historical divination ritual that was encouraged back in the 1800s for young women to walk up a flight of stairs backwards, holding a candle and a mirror in a darkened house.
Uh,
And as they gaze into the mirror, they're supposed to be able to catch a view of their future husband's face.
oh,
So
okay.
that's kind of sweet, right? But
Until they fall and burn themselves and Yeah, that's sweet.
But however, if they are gazing in the mirror and they see a skull or a face of the Grim Reaper, that's indicating that they're going to die before they have a chance to marry.
Oh, for the love of the great goddess. Oh, sweet, sweet Lord, don't anybody do this. Please just
Don't
spare
try
us
this at home.
all. The comments and the, "Yeah, I did this and I'm gonna," no, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that makes it fun. That makes it spooky. It makes it like Bloody Mary-ish, right?
It's definitely a child's game. I think it's definitely a truth or dare thing that kids would do at sleepovers. Uh, but one of the interesting things that happened was there there's different studies about the phenomenon and explanations around it. So people are saying, you know what, you can gaze into a mirror and you start to hallucinate. And some of your facial features might appear like they're drooping or melting, or animals or strange features like that might sort of appear in the mirror. So there's always someone trying to say something about what may have created this as a myth for a long time, right?
Okay.
Um, so the one guy was talking about disassociative stuff, and this I bring this up because we're going to talk about scrying in a bit. So I want people to hold on for a bit because all of this is going to tie into sort of what Tara's going to talk about in a bit. So they're talking about there was one professor at the University of Urbino. I don't even know where that is.
Well,
I'm going to
you know,
say his name was Giovanni Caputo, so maybe Italy.
maybe. Where'd you go to school? I went to school in Urbino or whatever you said. Oh, there. Yes, we know that well. Apparently not.
That one. He called it the strange face illusion. So he was saying, you know what, it's part of a dissociative identity effect. It causes the brain's facial recognition system to misfire so that you see stuff in the mirror. So I found
Hmm.
that interesting. Okay. Um, Another fellow has a unique take on the legend. And
Okay.
so there's people who are actually folklorists out there who get paid.
Yes, yes, I've heard of that.
Okay. I thought that would have been a fun job for you and I to do, I think.
And
Just
yes, that and yeah. Anyway, go on.
so Alan Dundes, Dundes, suggests that the story, because everybody tries to trace it back to who was Mary. Is she a real person? Is she a myth? Is she a legend? Da, 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 da. So he says this all traces back to an initiation ritual into womanhood. And he notes that the legend revolves around blood suddenly
Oh,
appearing, and that ritual takes place in a bathroom when girls are reaching the right age of puberty.
okay. I saw that one coming as soon as you kind of went down that little bit of a, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Uh, maybe, but other theorists say that the origin of the story has a bit more of a historical perspective. So there's a ton of figures that have been put forward. And this is, I think we could do a whole episode just on some of these characters or people, I guess. They work I'm going to call them characters because they're kind of storybook like, but so there's Mary first of England. So she was daughter of Henry and Catherine of Aragon, and she had about 300 religious Protestant dissenters burned at the stake during her reign.
Oh, so she
So
wasn't lovely. She wasn't
no,
demure. She wasn't mindful.
she was not. Then that got her the nickname Bloody Mary. Then the other one, and this one fascinated me, is Elizabeth Bathory. Hopefully I'm saying that
Oh,
right.
I know who this is.
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
17th century Hungarian
Period.
count.
Yep, Countess.
She allegedly tortured and killed around 660 girls and women, bathed in their blood, and was accused of vampirism.
You know, the only reason I know that one is because my husband's Hungarian, and for whatever reason, the kids and I were looking something up, and that popped up. I was like, "Oh, there's something nice for your background there, kiddies."
Here's your cultural history. A
That's
woman,
right.
she was
Go
a
bathe in
vampire.
blood.
Yeah, bathed in the blood. Oh gosh. And then the last Mary is Mary Worth, and she has been identified as two separate people. She's either a woman who killed slaves during the American South via the Underground Railroad, or a woman who was burned at the stake in the witch trials. So they haven't really been able to narrow it down who she was because she's got all these stories with her name attached to it.
Okay.
So, anyways, regardless of where the story began or which woman sort of inspired it, I feel like it's a game, it's a myth, it's a legend that can terrify people um, for years to come. And that was something that I found very, very fascinating because, you know, as much as you and I as mediums, we love our different tools. And one of them is, and I've seen a lot of famous mediums on TV do this where they're gazing into a mirror.
Because for the most part, scrying is actually about, like you said, looking into the future, seeing what's coming up, seeing what presents itself. You were talking though, and it made me kind of think back to, when we do trance mediumship and I'm sitting in trance and people will say to me, "Oh my God, your voice changed. Oh my God, your appearance changed. Your
Yeah.
facial features shifted and whatnot." But just out of curiosity.
Do you think it's like to interrupt you quickly, do you
Yeah.
think it's what that gentleman was saying from the university about, it's our brain playing tricks on us with the face morphing? Because I
I
per
don't. What do you think?
I personally am going to say no because I've been sitting in a room when you do trance, and I've been sitting in a room when Ricky does trance, a good friend of ours, and I've seen both your faces change, and I am not sitting there by myself. There's a whole room full of people.
Yeah, it just depends on the person. It just depends on the situation. And, there's a lot of people that just do weird stuff. And I think people get caught up in it. Now, having said that, who's to say that people don't get caught up when they're sitting with me? So for me, I truly believe that the work I do is the work I do. So others must be able to do it. So, but I do also feel, that that gentleman, that professor, whomever he was, folklorist, whatever he was, I
Mhm.
don't feel he's necessarily wrong. I think that there are going to be some people that have this I don't even know what I'm saying, disassociate.
Dissociative identity effect.
Right? I do believe that for sure. And I feel like usually that will come with someone. And here's where everything with mediumship and spiritualism and metaphysical and occult and all those things gets kind of blurry. The lines get blurred. Is that legitimately there's people with mental illness out there. There's people that, are desperate to see and hear and feel and know things a specific way. So even though we can all do that work that we always talk about, the work being mediumship and intuitive work and whatnot, sometimes, honestly, I feel like people just want it so bad, they'll just say it's happening and whatnot.
Mm.
But what I was going to say to you is this. I feel that, and all I could think about every time you said, look in the mirror, stare into the mirror, walk up the back stairs holding a candle and try not to burn your house down, all I kept thinking of was, like, just going and staring in a mirror and knowing me, and you're gonna laugh when I say this, knowing what we just went through, like, to start this stupid program with me and my freaking hair, and just be like, I couldn't see anything because all I'd be focused on was me. Do you know what I mean? So, I think that
Yeah.
it just takes it I don't know, Nan. I now I feel like I'm stumbling all over the place with this one. I think for the most part, if you really are engaged, if you really know how to do this kind of work and really can tell you the difference between you making it happen and you allowing it to happen.
Yeah,
Does that make
that's a
sense?
good way to it does. That makes it's a good way. And I know what you're saying because like a lot of us when we look in the mirror, we are so self-judgmental, right? Like, oh, my makeup is smeared or my hair is funny or whatever. We do all of that. But I think, and as you're going to get into talking more about scrying, and even, different exercises I give to my students for seeing auras and stuff. I imagine it's very similar where you have to let the eyes relax and kind of like you're daydreaming a bit and not focus on that. I've also seen other times where people have taken the mirror at a 45-degree angle so they don't see themselves, but they're still looking into the mirror.
Do you want to hear something very, very interesting? Is that the mirror is typically what you use to scry.
Yeah.
But it can be anything with a reflection in it. And it can also actually be a flame.
Yes.
So let's just talk about that for 2 seconds, Nan.
Let's do it.
It doesn't, if you are in a state of being where you trust the process,
Yeah.
then a flame will do just fine. And there is no reflection in a flame. You do not see yourself in a flame. I don't care what anyone says. You cannot see yourself in a flame. Do you
Okay.
agree?
I agree. Yeah. You
I
couldn't see
I I was gonna light a candle and start staring at, but you can. So you can use, I've seen people use bowls of water. Of course, you can see your reflection in the water. I've seen people use big bodies of water,
Mm,
like wade out into the ocean and look into that space as well. You can use a plate that has a reflective, lots of people have scrying plates, and
yeah.
I have a scrying box actually.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and actually I use it as the goddess box where we put my clients and I put our intentions and we hold it in that space. But it's a scrying box. There's
I
lots of
love-
different ways you can do it with scrying. The biggest thing is, and to take this for what it's worth, friends, is that if you are new to this, you're going to want to make sure that you have done your grounding so that you're present, you're able to open up to this. This is not, and you know, this is just my humble opinion, and no trigger warnings, or maybe lots of trigger warnings, we'll see. But the idea here is to remind yourself that you cannot bring bad spirits through this. It's the same with the Ouija board. You guys, if you are sitting in that energy, that is a weird mindset to be in. And I'm sorry that if you were sitting there saying, I'm going to bring a demon through,
Yeah.
good luck with that. That'd be impressive. Because in my world, demons don't exist,
It's about the intention, right? The
right?
intention, the work. I have a scrying obsidian polished piece of stone.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, almost anything that has a reflection can be used as a scry. So again, and why are you actually scrying? So the last one you said was one of the walking backwards, and you're going to see your husband, potential husband, or you're going to see a skull and die. That stuff to me is what makes it fun or spooky or something to talk about, at Halloween, that whole, Bloody Mary thing. And for me personally, I prefer the first one you said. Like, let's go. Let's see who's in that mirror. It could be Medusa with her hair. That's what would be happening if I woke up in the morning. I'm like, let's cry, people. And you start looking into the reflection in the mirror. I think that one to me is one safer. I'm just gonna say, like, for real safer. But that one would resonate more with me to see, what comes up, what do I need to know? Is there something there? And more likely than not, I'm gonna see a spirit guide.
And I think in modern day scrying, that is what most people do. They try to see, departed loved ones. They try to see their spirit guides. It just depends on, I think, again, we get back to that intention, right?
Yeah. And that is the key to everything. So guys, if you're going to try scrying, and this is just a disclaimer, you're not going to bring anything through the mirror, nothing's going to attach to you. That is all stuff, I swear to the great goddess, that gets overplayed, overworked, and oversold.
Yeah. Well, and again, like I said, it's a folklore expert
But
who's
it's
researched.
fun though.
Yes.
What I was going to ask you though,
Mm.
was there anything at all, just out of curiosity, that related the Bloody Mary to the drink? Like, just like, was there something fun that's, oh, someone was drinking it and they just called it a bloody, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I actually did deep dive a little bit because when you're Googling all the sources and different things like that, different things come up. And there was a mermaid, I believe, in, oh gosh, where was she? And her name was Mary, and she was attributed to making the Bloody Mary. But of course, everybody, it's like that telephone game, right? You meet
Oh,
Mary at the local pub and she creates a great drink, and it's called the Bloody Mary. And then she, all of a sudden you're bringing all the folklore and all this other stuff about childhood little truth and dare games that are meant to terrify people versus something in the 1800s that was, I guess, similar when you're walking upstairs to see your husband's face, but backwards. I don't know. It's just
backwards with a flame. Right? I don't know. That to me is just like bad juju. You're like
right.
cruising for a bruising if you do something like that. That's a good one though. And you know what's funny? I'm gonna say this is that when you brought up Bloody Mary, everyone knows Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Except I could not think for one moment when you're like, let's do this. And I was like, yes, I've heard of that name before. But do you think I could think of one thing about her or about it at all? Not a single soul. And then, and I didn't even put the two and two together when you're like, we're scrying, blah, blah. So these are the kinds of things I find are really fun. Now, once you started talking about it, then I was like, oh, that's right. That's right. Because, we work in the white light. So we aren't sitting around here watching ourselves turn bloody in a mirror or seeing a face come through. I would probably literally have myself checked in if I am sitting and for real, even though I've talked to dead people my whole life, sitting in the mirror and being like, holy mother of the great goddess, you are a hot mess, lady. And if I saw something like that, I'd be like, wow, because I don't see things like that. I don't see and other mediums claim that they do, and I don't judge them on it, and I'm sure they see whatever they see. But, oh, I saw how they died and whatever. I've seen some of that, but they don't come to me in a bloody mess. They don't come to me like this is a horror movie or a thriller, and they passed over and they're showing you how they passed. They don't do that. Not for me, at least.
Well, and that's because you've set the rules and boundaries that way. I have as well. Like I do know other mediums that have people who have passed and present that, but I never want to really deep dive into seeing those images. I don't need to. They can just tell me how they passed or show me symbol. I don't
Give
need to
me a
see
feeling and then let it go.
and let it go. Exactly. Yeah. And I mean I was sure to set, because did you ever watch the show The Sixth Sense or
I've seen The
um
Sixth Sense. I talk to dead people.
yeah, and like you've got this poor kid seeing people exactly how they passed, and I'm going, oh my God, that's terrifying.
I
Like,
thought that was one of the best. I'm just going to say this. Shout out to Bruce Willis, my dude, because
yeah,
that was such a good movie that the ending threw me for such a loop.
totally. It's one of my
Such a-
favorites.
Check it out, friends. The Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
It's been out for a long time, babies. And while
yeah,
we're doing that, let's send Bruce Willis some love, right? He's having a tough time.
exactly. We're going to send Bruce to love from us.
Bruce
But
Willis love.
that was totally one of the things when I came out of the broom closet. I went, I do not want to see people like that. I've watched enough horror movies because I love horror movies that I do not want to have people present that way to me. And I just created those rules of spirit. Just said,
And it's so funny because I've never ever they've never come to me like that. And I've never thought about it. So I really honestly feel like spirit just shows you what's right for you, and if it's showing you stuff that isn't right for you, like you said, you take responsibility, you take and you create those boundaries with spirit and whatnot. But you gotta wonder, do you know what I mean? Like if spirit's coming through and that's the only way you're able to get the message is through gore and that, if maybe something's not as copacetic as you might think it is,
yeah.
with the work with spirit. I don't know. That's again, people will come at me. I'm sure Zach Bagan is I told you that he started following me on Instagram, and immediately I say to Nan, well, we should probably make sure he's not unhappy with me, being that I was doing all that talking. But but honestly, I think that, if people want to scrying is a great tool for concentration.
Did you do any of this when you went to Stansted? Did you do any exercises with scrying or anything like that?
Okay, so remember with me, Boo Boo, that they threw me into trance mediumship because they didn't know what to do with me. I was already doing mediumship, conscious mediumship, evidential mediumship. I was already doing all that. So they threw me into trance mediumship, which I was already doing as well, but it was kind of, it was what they could do best and fit me in. So I don't remember. I don't remember a lot about Stansted because I was already doing the work. So the moments that were super important to me there were not having anything to do with spiritual growth. It was to do with making friends and, going out in the middle of the night with, someone to a bar, walking into town in the middle of the night in England. That's the kind of stuff I remember. But I did scrying with Tina Cleland. And
Okay.
she sold a lot of scrying mirrors and some really nice ones, but we did that. And actually, scrying is one of those things that for me is just a really great way to concentrate and to focus as easily and effortlessly as you can with an intention on one thing. Because
Okay.
people tend to go all over the place, and you talk about meditation, you talk about being sitting in mindfulness and all those things, and I really think it's an amazing tool to focus your energy
Yeah.
and see what comes up for you, whether you
Yeah.
see a face, whether you see your own face, but you get wisdom and knowledge given to you. It's a great tool for concentration.
I think so too. My son bought me a crystal ball.
Oh, fun.
I know that was totally fun, but it's same sort of thing. Just used it, and I found it very therapeutic in the sense of it just chills you out. You just focus on just relaxing and leaning into the moment of whatever you want to do and just allowing it to come in.
Yeah,
It
and
did,
I think it's, like I said, a great tool.
yeah. I didn't see faces. I had downloads, but
And that's what I've always ever gotten. And I use a form of scrying a lot in when we are doing cord cutting or releasing and reflection.
mm,
I do a lot of going and looking. Usually it will be in a flowing body of water where one part becomes a little bit stagnant. Anyway, but that's one of the things that I use scrying for because it's a great way to be able to look deeper into yourself as well.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love
Yay.
So, energetically, just one last thing before I think you might have a yummy little exercise for people to try. Um, but one of the things I always say to people energetically, if you're dealing with like really bad people at work, is you know how everybody talks about the big bubble of white light, and you sit in your protective bubble of white light, putting mirrors reversed out so that the mirrors are focusing on whoever is sending you that energy. And it just
Like the golden sphere, what comes to you bounces off as positive and goes back. Yeah, I love that using mirrors.
so there we go.
Okay,
That's our
do you
mirror
know what I'm
episode.
gonna do? I've got
Yeah.
two things here. One,
Okay.
I do have a scrying exercise now, but I think what we'll do is we'll just put that into the Instagram for the podcast, so people can just go there, they can take it and copy it, and then try practicing it. I'm gonna give the definition of scrying from my beautiful witchy encyclopedia, and then I got a super cute, or not cute. See, I'm so used to saying everything's exciting and everything's cute. I've got a story that might be kind of fun for people, and it won't take very long. Are we okay?
Let's do it. And
Okay,
if you're
so
on Instagram, just make sure you follow us.
yeah, yeah, Instagram and Nan and our team will have all the information on there um, of
And
where
you
to go. So here we are, scrying. The word scrying means seeing, especially seeing into the future. And I don't really use it for that. An object or surface is gazed into until visions are seen on the surface or in the mind's eye. Scrying is an ancient form of divination that dates back to the early Egyptians. The tool of scryers is called a speculum.
hmm,
Just wanted to make sure I said that right.
how
S
do you how do you spell that?
Speculum. Speculum.
Hmm.
And although this is often thought of as a crystal ball used by gypsies, any reflective surface can in fact be used. For example, polished stones, metals, crystals, and mirrors, ink blots.
What? Interesting.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Ink blots and other dark liquids. An experienced scryer may even be able to use their own polished thumbnail. Oh my goodness, for scrying
Oh,
purposes.
okay. We need to
Chrome
run with
work?
that.
I think Chrome might work.
It might. We could use your polished chrome
We could
fingernail.
use my polished chrome fingernails. Okay. Um, The French physician and astrologer, oh, I always butcher his name, Nostradamus.
Oh, you did good.
I did good. Scryed with a bowl of water set upon a tripod. Scryers usually have their own unique way of inducing visions. Those who use crystals may focus on points of light, others enter into a meditative state and allow images to float into their inner awareness. It is believed to be possible to learn the art of scrying with patience and practice, Nan. The most important ingredient for success is the ability to relax both body and mind, leaving the mind in a passive, unfocused state. It is said that when clairvoyance develops, the speculum clouds over with mist and then parts to reveal images.
Hmm.
Cool. That
That's
is,
super.
you're
That's
good.
super. Yeah, I said that's super cool.
I talked over you like 6 times. Okay, let me just read this little story I found when I was Googling. Um, oh my gosh, and it's gonna have names that are just okay, so this is called the ghost mirror. Okay, and just bear with me, everyone, as I do my best to pronounce all sorts of things. Johann Georg Faust was a German alchemist who inspired the famous Faust's legends. He wrote a book of spells, a grimoire. I know that word. A grimoire. I feel cool saying that. Let's say it together. Grimoire.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. Called the, oh my Lord, Hollenswang. 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 Okay, according to the instructions in the book, if one wants to see the future in a mirror, they must go to the market on a Friday and buy the first mirror they find, no matter how expensive it is. If they haggle the price down, that means a demon can get inside. Don't be
That that
it.
that is so funny. That is the way. And this guy's German. We're going to talk about what the Germans do because I am German and we butcher all the fables and make them evil. So of course, this is his way, having been a guy who sells mirrors at the market to not get negotiated down. That's
Okay, it gets better, baby. You ready? On
yeah.
the night of a new moon, the owner of the mirror must find a fresh grave, dig in the area where the face of the body would be, and bury the mirror face down over the corpse. 9 weeks later, the seer had to dig up the mirror. Then the names of 3 spirits must be said out loud, Beetlejuice, 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 in order to summon them. The names of the spirits changed depending on what sort of advice the seer was looking for. The book also describes what successful visions are like. In these visions, the spirit of a beautiful man or woman will appear and guide the medium throughout the entire world, allowing them to see the answers to their questions about the past, present, and future.
Hmm.
That's kind of where it ended. This was pretty cool though, so maybe I'll put the link to this too, because there's 9 of these little stories. So maybe I'll put the link to this as well in the Instagram. But I just thought, like, there you go, just like you said, made it into something, probably was a guy who sold mirrors somewhere, right? And made
Yeah.
this into something. And you know what? If you don't buy the most expensive one, you're gonna get a demon in your house. Woo! And then Bloody Mary will have to come save you.
Well, and it just takes me like I've looked through fairy tales throughout the years, and though I found this book that my grandmother had, and I mean, she was very, very German, like spoke half English, half German, and it was these were horrible fairy tales. Like they were the kind where Santa Claus is coming to get you. He's not coming to leave nice things in your stockings. They wrote stuff to just terrify children to put them into line to behave like
Okay, that is going to be one of our podcasts because think of it, Hansel and Gretel.
yeah.
What the fluff? Even the Disney movies?
Oh yeah, they're all
All the animated Disney movies?
totally changed. Like, did you know that the Little Mermaid actually washed up on the beach and died?
No. No,
Yeah,
I did not.
the
Ariel!
in the original story, and it was meant to be a lesson to not, want things that you can't have. It's just there's a lot of okay. So we'll dedicate a whole podcast episode to the original fairy tale versus what Disney made them.
Well, I bet he like Fox and the Hound, Lady and the Tramp. There's all this, the 101 Dalmatians. Like, let's make you into a coat, cute little puppy. Like all these things are just like they are so not nice. Not nice. Now I feel like, that Bloody Mary. That is a very fun, fun in terms of interesting, uh, one to bring up, and I'm super grateful you thought of that one, Nan.
Yeah, well, I thought it would be something that was a good sort of fun segue into scrying and different tools that we can use, and it was a good way for us just to talk about a whole bunch of things. Next episode, I want to bring in some animal stuff, and I want to talk about how crows can hold grudges.
No, I feel that. I feel that with crows. Don't know why, but I literally feel that with crows.
So we'll save that for our next episode, and we can get into
I'm here for it.
So I think it's fair to say that's it for today's episode, everyone. Thank you for diving into the world of mirrors with us and scrying and the fun stuff. Don't forget to join us next time for more insights, stories, and guidance.
You know what I'm gonna do, Nan?
What are you going to do, Tara?
I'm gonna put in a recipe for a Bloody Mary as well.
Okay.
We should
Let's
do that.
do it.
And everyone should
Okay.
bring a drink to the next one. Okay, sorry guys. Of course, please don't forget, you guys. We want you to keep following us. We want you to like us and invite your friends to like us and give us reviews and do all the things. If you think this is worth anyone's while, then most definitely come and let us know, but also give some comments. Nan and I want to start kind of responding back, and Nan is a host of wisdom, and I just write her coattails. So come and ask Nan some questions. She is like the guru. We should do a new thing called Ask Nan.
Ask Nan your burning questions.
Ask Nan your burning questions. And then Tara will talk over her, and I promise I won't. Please though, come and like us, and let your friends know, because, well, we want to share ourselves with everyone.
Exactly. Thanks for tuning in, being a part of our journey. Until next time, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep shining your beautiful lights.
Okay, Spirit, I'm staying. We'll catch you next time on Spirit, Angels, and Guides.